young age, we've always been given a choice. What to wear to school, what you eat for breakfast, where you go to college. But who gets to choose when you're ready to die? Many people suffer from a terminal illness and do not get the right to choose when they are done suffering. The choice is instead put in the hands of lawmakers in their state. Dr. Jack Kevorkian tried to change this. He found patients who were in extreme suffering that wished to end their lives, and he ended them. It was a process known as euthanasia. The idea of ending someone's life before they died naturally rose a big controversy over whether it was ethical or not. People wonder whether euthanasia is the right choice because they are ending a person's life. Some fear the past, as the Nazis issued involuntary euthanasia. They took the lives of many that deemed unworthy of living. People fear that euthanasia can be easily misused and the history could repeat itself. Or that by allowing euthanasia, they are insinuating that some lives are more worthy than others. Voluntary euthanasia requires a patient's consent and a doctor's approval. A doctor or patient cannot just decide that euthanasia is the right choice. It must be discussed with a family and then approved by a doctor before it can be carried out. Euthanasia is performed by a doctor administering a fatal dose of a drug. The doctor administers a drug that is suitable for the patient. People usually decide that they would like to be euthanized if they are suffering from a terminal illness with a great deal of pain and no chance of getting better. Currently, 4 of the 50 states have legalized euthanasia and assisted suicide. Even though euthanasia is legal in these states, there are few patients who can actually request euthanasia. 3 of the 4 states that have an age limit of 18, as well as this, the patient must have at the most 6 months to live. To request euthanasia, a patient cannot simply ask, but they must ask twice, at least 15 days apart, as well as a written request. Some people who are in extreme suffering must request to die 3 times before their death is granted. Not only the patient is in pain, but they are in enough pain that they are willing to request to die at least 3 times just to end their life. In addition, there has to be 15 days between each request, which means there is a minimum of 30 days between the first and third request. All these days, the patient is lying in pain, waiting for their life to end. It's a bit ridiculous that the most developed country in the world is forcing people to live in pain and suffering instead of giving them the death that they wish to have. In the year 2000, around 47% of the U.S. population were in favor of euthanasia. In 2006, 56% of 1,229 adults were in favor of euthanasia to be legalized in America. Our country and its people are developing. It is time for its laws to change with us. The choice of whether a patient lives or dies should be in their own hands, and whatever their decision is, they should have the options that will support them. If a patient decides to live until natural death, they should have the option to ease their suffering. If a patient chooses to end their life in suffering, they should be able to. Euthanasia is an option. It rids the patient of their family and suffering. I'm going to restart that. I've heard that. Euthanasia is an option. It rids the patient and their family of suffering. Lawmakers should not get to decide what is right for them. Patients have the right to decide what they are done suffering. Thank you.